You can read it, but
Good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and call this meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. Today is October 8th, 2024. This is the regular board meeting for the Lake County Board of Supervisors. We will begin our meeting, as we usually do, with moments of silence. We have two from Supervisor Green, and then we'll go on to Vice Chair Crandall.
Thank you. I'd like to start off, we lost two longtime public servants. First one, Bob Paiva, died September 30th. He was a Lakeport Unified School District teacher for more than 30 years, teaching subjects including family life education, social studies, and driver's education. And so we hold up his family. Also, we lost Stanton LaWayne Jones, who died September 23rd at age 81 from complications of cancer. He was born in Kentfield, California, and proudly served as an Army medic in Germany in the early 1960s. He then dedicated 28 years to serving in the California Highway Patrol. And after retiring from the CHP, Stan and his wife Ruby traveled and spent 16 years working in Yellowstone National Park. Stan volunteered with the Lake County Gleaners, was a past president of Lake County Peace Officers Association, and past member of the Early Lake Lions. He is survived by a large and loving family, including Ruby, his wife of 48 years, daughters Christina Olson, Stacy Martin, and Heather Way, and their spouses, 8 grandchildren, and 14 great-grandchildren. Memorial contributions can be made to the California Highway Patrol Widows and Orphans Fund in Sacramento, and there is a full obituary posted at Chapel of the Lake.
Thank you very much. Vice Chair?
yes, I just wanted to talk about the Glen Haven fire and thank all the first responders that came out and assisted with the situation that basically fled over to Clear Lake Oaks and threatened all of these homes. There also was a couple others that took place. I don't know if it was from the embers or and whatnot, but defensible space is really important, and it really helped the first responders when Chief Wink took us up on the hill. He mentioned that. And so, you know, I know there was one that threatened the Elam tribe. There was one that threatened over the hill in Clear Lake as well. And so there's just so many different fires happening, so just keep vigilant. Keep an eye out for it until we start getting some, you know, more wet weather, you know, and hopefully that's coming soon, but we'll do what we can to stay vigilant. All of the staff that helped over the weekend as well and came to the aid of people that needed a place to stay over at Twin Pine, and of course, thank you to the tribe of Middletown for doing that as well. Lucerne Senior Center, everybody came together, as they always do, to be a part of ensuring people have respite, have a place to go, and to you know, give support to folks and the first responders that are fighting so hard for to make sure that nothing spreads further, because potentially it could have went further into the city. That's what the chief had said, that without the defensible space, it runs right into the city with all of that vegetation. So again, keep ready, watch your zones, and have a go bag ready. So,
Thank you. Supervisor Crandall, would you please lead us on the pledge?
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Let's go ahead and move on. We do have an extra item to consider, 4.1. This item came to our attention after the posting of the agenda and needs to be acted upon before the following agenda that's available to us. And so I'm looking for approval of adding this as an extra item.
I'll motion to, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I am looking for that, but I probably jumped ahead. I need to open that up for comments and questions. If none, let's go ahead and open up for public comment. Anyone wish to speak on this item? In fact, Sheriff Howe, we will call on you once we take that item. I just happened to see your video up there. Let's go ahead and open it up for public comment. Raise your hand if you're in the Zoom room and you will be called on, or come on up to the microphone. This is again to add this as an extra item, and this is the emergency declaration due to the fire. And we'll go ahead and bring him back to action to add this as an extra item.
I'll move to add this as an extra item.
Second.
County Council, did you want to add something?
Yes, as part of that motion, to add the extra item as it came up after the posting of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries, and we'll take that up as soon as possible. We have a lot of people in the room, and I want to make sure that we get to the items that they're here for as well. Let's move on to item 5, approval of the consent agenda. Is there any items that board members wish to pull? And seeing none, I'll open it up for public comment. Anyone wish to pull an item on the consent agenda? All right, and seeing none, let's go ahead and bring it back to the board for action.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent agenda items 5.1 through 5.11.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We're going to move on to public input. This is time for anyone to express themselves to the Board of Supervisors on anything that is not on our agenda today. You'll have 3 minutes. If you're in the chamber, please come on up for your 3 minutes. If you're in the Zoom room, please raise your hand. Please.
Good morning. My name is Bruce Robinson. I am the director of Lake County Pet Health and Safety Network. We're a strong group of like-minded individuals volunteering to make a difference. I moved to Lake County 15 months ago and soon realized the severity of our pet and animal issue and situation in Lake County. But by no means I'm here to tell you what to do, but I think a few suggestions could be in order. I'm sure all of you are very aware that people are hurting in this county. It's coming from deep inside their hearts. Feral cat colonies can be connected in every community around Clear Lake. And we have an outrageous number of puppies and kittens being born. And the thing about cats and dogs is that unless they're spayed or neutered, they keep reproducing over and over again, and then their offspring reproduce over and over again, and so the story goes. Good people in this county are doing everything they can to rescue, foster, and adopt. They've been dumped, including entire litters of puppies, thrown out or just let go. Last February, a puppy was dumped in the middle of the night in Cobb. Pam and I happened to be out of town, and our neighbor rescued her but couldn't keep her. So when we returned, she became a big part of our lives. Several months later, we paid $700 to have her spayed. We couldn't necessarily easily afford that, but we had to do it. It's going to take massive action and effort for the entire community. I would like to bring attention not only to our local officials, elected officials, but teachers, students, business owners, and of course, homeowners and renters. What I mean by that is we need volunteers to educate our community and be willing to foster and prepare a dog or cat for the forever home. We must be willing to create solutions, how to attract affordable spay and neutering in this county on a regular basis. We can't do this alone. We need your help. We have many good people willing to do that, what it takes. I would like to see a healthy foster program set up and having consistent adoption days. If you were to tell me 5 months ago that I would be starting a nonprofit, I would not have believed you. But we're getting underway as a fundraising 501c3. Our network social media site has more than 250 members now. Actually, just about hit 300 this morning. Now we want to make a difference, and I'm here for the long haul. My wish is, and I hope we can work together to make an amazing difference. Here's my suggestion. I understand how hard it is for communities to hire a vet or two. It's time to become proud of where we live. I came from Sacramento Valley. It was a good place to live for many years. The time spent in traffic has increased every year, and there are many angry and impatient folks and just tired of the hustle and bustle. I found an affordable place to live in the Cobb area, with no traffic and with opportunity and citizens filled with unspeakable kindness. Maybe a change is what these vets are, which they really need. The freshest air in California, 4 glorious seasons with many beautiful places to hike, able to find adventure all around the lake.
Please finish your comment, sir. if we can please finish your comment.
Yes, I'm right, it's right at the end here. And so we have lots to do in this Lake County. I would like to see us offer them free rent for 1 year. Most vets have extraordinary school loans that will
And
take.
sir, I meant more like finish your sentence rather than finish whatever paragraph you have left.
That is my last paragraph.
Okay, so at this moment in
And I
time,
just
we're
think we
past
must,
agreement.
my last sentence is we must think out of the box, and as a community, we can
And
accomplish anything.
I appreciate your efforts in making a difference. Let's communicate. Let's communicate with your Board of Supervisor. Let's see how we can work together.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. Anyone else with public comment? All right, seeing none, let's go ahead and move on our agenda. Our next item is our Pet of the Week, and we have Sarah. I forgot your last name, I apologize.
My name's Sarah Schramm. I work for Lake County Animal Control. I'm the kennel coordinator. This puppy has no name. She is one of a litter of 9 that was dumped on the side of the road. She's been at the shelter for, I believe, the litter is 2 months now, growing a little bit bigger all the time. So we're currently looking for homes for that litter. We also recently have taken in a couple other litters, and one litter that specifically came from the fire last weekend. I know there's a lot of dogs that needs homes, but if you have time, there's always a puppy out there. There is always an old dog that gets left behind. So come take a look. The address is 4949 Hellbush Drive in Lakeport. If you have any questions, please give us a call.
Thank you very much. Next, we're going to move on to our 9:04 a.m. item, new and noteworthy at the library.
Hi, it's Christopher Veach, a county librarian. I'm here to just share a little bit about the library, what's going on this week. And this month, I want to highlight a book that's been topping the library's hold list for a few weeks now, The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. Liz Moore is the author of 5 novels, and she received the 2015 Rome Prize in Literature from the American Academy. She currently teaches at Temple University in Philadelphia. And The God of the Woods is a gripping blend of family drama and thriller set in a 1970s summer camp in the Adirondack Mountains. The story centers on the wealthy Van Laar family who was plunged into turmoil when their child Barbara disappeared one morning 14 years after the mysterious disappearance of their first child. Urban Waite writes for San Francisco Chronicle, Moore has written a master class on pacing and perspective. It is a braided mystery that spans generations, not just for the Van Laars, but also for the locals who live alongside them. Complicated in all the best ways, The God of the Woods is a wonderful, engaging, fast-paced read that will undoubtedly be a favorite for years to come. The God of the Woods is available in print, audiobook, and ebook through the library system, and you can request this book or other materials through our online library catalog, which has the combined resources of Lake, Sonoma, and Mendocino County library systems. And requesting items is completely free to library patrons, and items are sent to your local branch for you to pick up. I also wanted to highlight that next Monday is Indigenous Peoples Day, and one way to celebrate is with films and documentaries from Canopy, the streaming service available through the library. Canopy is the library's free streaming service offering thousands of high-quality films, documentaries, and educational content. It's free with your library card to stream directly to your phone, computer, or device. If you visit the library webpage, you can find a link to documentaries and movies about Native people, such as Gather, a 2020 documentary following natives reclaiming ancient foodways as a way forward to bring back health and vitality to their communities. And as always, you can find information about our events and resources on our website at library.lakecountyca.gov, or come visit your local library branch in Clear Lake, Middletown, Upper Lake, or on our bookmobile. And thanks again for listening to what's new and noteworthy at the library.
Thank you so much for that update. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our first proclamation, 6.4, 9:05 a.m., presentation of proclamation declaring the second Monday of October as Indigenous Peoples Day in Lake County. Vice Chair E.J. Crandall. And I believe Mr. Steele is supposed to come up as well.
Yes, Mr. Steele, please come up, and anyone else that's here for the proclamation, you can come and stand up here with us. Okay. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to read in English and also in Haitsinu. And so this is going to be read by Tony Steele. He is, you're which tribe?
My name is Anthony Steele, and I'm the president of the Kanokatai Native Wellness Board. I'm a board member. I'm a member of the Lytton Band of Pomo Indians out of Sonoma County. I'm a member there. I grew up on Kashaya, but my ancestry and where I live today is Lower Lake, which is Khoi Umtimfo. Thank you.
I didn't want to mess that up, thank you. Okay. Godi Duaname, Chintama, Bawinawa, Bawinawa, Ba Koligok, Ngat Kabatin, Wemashi EJ Crandall, District 3 Supervisor, Kabatin, EEE. And I just basically said, good morning, my friends, my family, and people of Lake County, District 3 Supervisor of Lake County, and thank you. And so I'll start off with this proclamation. It's declaring the second Monday in October Indigenous Peoples Day in Lake County. Whereas the area now known as Lake County has been home to people for greater than 12,000 years and richly diverse cultures of the 7 tribal nations indigenous to Lake County: Middletown Rancheria of Pomo Indians of California, Khoi Nation of Northern California, Big Valley Band of Pomo Indians, Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians, Habematolel Pomo of Upper Lake, Robinson Rancheria of Pomo Indians of California, and Elam Indian Colony have informed every aspect of our community's history. And
Heko, we afdeklai bostotset, obai omlai haitinu opte muatet, yahake we kamelai haitinu yolbit, omlai ukatal nantatserit. Sama metzil we helai, yahake we kamelai, balakmai. Yahake mi kemsel haitinu, baitinu kowe, umtimfoweya. My ukat kemsel hekate, we umtimfo hawimbak, witbak meko haitinu. Obai amayel ukat haitinu muatadit. We umtimfo kemsel mitza mesat ke uitama. Mi shepatete sauklo me hawinsat. Katui hako haitinu mailbakot. Middletown Rancheria, Khoi Nation of Northern California, Big Valley of Pomo Indians, Scotts Valley Band of Pomo Indians, Robinson Rancheria of Pomo Indians, Ke Elem Sauklo, Elem Indian Colony.
whereas policies and practices of the United States and earlier colonial governments deprived indigenous people in the state of California and Lake County, specifically of land holdings, liberty, even life itself.
We makalai hawembak nantatset obai amayal mi mebak tsanubit bokot yahake we ukat umtimfo matun mebak nantatset. Amatun auda ui mail bokot.
And whereas the County of Lake is committed to protecting rights of tribal organizations and institutions to strengthen their own communities, and whereas Indigenous Peoples Day was first proposed to the United Nations more than 40 years ago,
We makalai hawembak nantatset obai amayal mi mebak tsanu bokot yahake. We ukat umtimfo matun mebak nantatset. Amatun auda ui mail bokot. Will mail ukat kataili doa. We okte metzat. We okte haitunu loket. We okte hehenolet. We okte hehemfoket. We okte umtimfo kwabehelet. We okte matumfo adomset. Katke. We okte mesat.
And whereas in January 2019, Lake proudly became the first United States county with 2 concurrently seated American Indian supervisors.
We kambelai umtimfo tatsit. Ke we ukatal makalai hawim for nan tatsit. Yahake omlai bostotsit. Omlai wit by ukatal dawa oli tsamawala fadikya.
And whereas, because of our historic position, we have a responsibility to lead in honoring and celebrating the legacy of all America's indigenous peoples, and particularly those indigenous to Lake County.
We mai bostotsit o by maiba umtimfo hawim baknan tatsit mi amail auda nukat. O by we ukat matibak. Mai ta ukatal hoko Michel kachani hine. O by whipbuck, umtimfo by kat hokoyel kit. With okat the ketsit, we hawin for mecho betekat adomsit. O by we uit hatzikat katke mail hawin mecho adomsi fadekadit. By ukatal oli tsamawala we mail tsanu uit da fatui kitsi chota sholbat.
Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Lake County Board of Supervisors declares each second Monday in October Indigenous Peoples' Day in Lake County, passed and adopted this 8th day of October 2024. Signed, Chair of the Board of Supervisors, Bruno Sabatier. Oh. I know when we passed this in 2019, it was very special to first start this from going from what was once called Columbus Day to Indigenous Peoples Day. But today is even more historic to have it read in one of our native languages. And I want to thank Kyle Bill for reaching out to me and getting this worked on, because it's a very special event, and I can feel just, I don't know, I'm just overwhelmed with emotion just to feel you speak those words, because I think we can feel it. And I think, Tony, you've told me before, our land here yearns for that language. And so I want to thank you again for doing this, and offer anybody, the tribal leaders that are here to speak.
I just want to say, I just need to say really quick on behalf of my teachers that have helped me and taught me and are still teaching me today. I'm learning, but the passion is in my heart to keep that language going, to keep some of the, and I have to disclaim that it's very, very difficult to translate verbatim some of the words. It does, in our language, if you were talking to somebody in the 17th century, it wouldn't make sense, that document. And so that, the translation is from the heart of this land. It's from the heart of the ancestors from this place, and it's from the people that are still here doing these things. And so if you ever get an opportunity to see that and learn that language and be able to translate it and see what it's saying, it'll hit your heart. So I just needed to disclaim that on behalf of my teachers who may be watching.
I also wanted to just mention that Batsulwin Brown here is a planning commissioner for District 3 as well. And so I just wanted to make sure to put you on the spot too, but I could see Chairman wants to come and say something. So.
Good morning. I'm Flaming McLeod, Chairman for Big Valley Rancheria. I just want to thank Anthony for doing that, and the Board of Supervisors for doing this morning. It's easier to speak, when I speak to my family members and my people than it is. It's more nervous when talking to a community, right? I'm a wholehearted believer that when we're standing up here, you see us standing here, but I see our ancestors behind us. You know, everything that they went through and what they carry on and what they went through for us to be here today. You know, a lot of our language is lost, you know, and it's something that was taken from us, right? But we're still here, right? And when these things are honored for our people, right? Whether it's changing it from Columbus to Indigenous Peoples Day, it makes my heart happy because we're seen, right? I feel like we're seen, you know, and that's what I wanted to say. Thank you. Oh.
Good morning. Michael Marks, Vice Chair, Upper Lake, and I wholeheartedly believe what Chairman said, Flamin McLeod. It's nice to get the acknowledgement, and these are steps toward healing, so we do appreciate it. So thank you very much.
Mahekate, Wihin Rose Steel, Ilambuk, Ayokilbuk, Yahaki Kanakamaole. My name is Rose Steele, and I'm from Elam on my father's side, sitting here, and Mendocino County, I'm from Yokeo. And so I just want to give thanks for this beautiful proclamation today. And it was just on my heart to share, you know, we're 500 generations Lake County. And so the words that our language teachers share is that if our land could speak, that's the language it would speak in. And so I share that because it's so important that all the places around Lake County, they have a name in our language. And I want to share that because it's disheartening sometimes to see I love the senator, but Mike Thompson Park, when we have a name for that place. And we gather roots and we gather acorns and we teach our children the names. And so I just want to share that because all of us in this room, you know, we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, and they wanted us to be good people. And so, Tiba Shlotsit to the Board of Supervisors.
All right. All right, thank you. And we have a proclamation for all of the tribes that are here as well in both languages, so that way you can take back to your leadership, tribe or elders, however you decide. So I'll open it up to the board to go ahead and speak. Oh, wait. Sorry, we'll let...
Thank you. Hekatama. My name is Jim Brown, and I'm from Elam. And I'm 71 years old. I was born and raised in this county. And I actually do a radio show I've been doing for 20 years. It's live tonight at 5 o'clock. I'm so proud when I stand here, especially when we have 2 Native American supervisors elected here. Did you know that there's no other county in the United States that has 2 Native American representatives on the Board of Supervisors? Lake County did that. Unfortunately, when I got started as the chairman of my tribe, the only time, 98 to 2000 was when the gaming started. And the Board of Supervisors voted against Indian gaming here. And when the Record B went and asked one of the supervisors why he voted, because in his District 3, he had 3 Indian tribes, he actually said, I don't give a rat's ass about what Native Americans think. I went on a pilgrimage and supported Denise Russian to get that supervisor out. Next came the Native Americans. So even though that was so hurtful, I looked at how powerful it was to change. Remember, a person without knowledge of his history and tradition is like a tree without roots. We're all in this together. Look at the fires. Look at everything that's happening to our county. We need to come together as humans and understand that we can work this out. And for me, I'm so proud of these younger people here. All of them. Nobody in my age would ever do this. They were discouraged. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of erasure of our culture here. Today, one of the biggest parks in our area is being developed, but they refuse to put a traditional name on it. Yet, my tribe has a 22,000-year history here. And every tribe that calls himself Pomo originated from us. And that's how old our nation is. And I want to also say that in that year, how I responded to that was 2 of my members stepped up and said they wanted to join law enforcement. Lyle Thomas and Kia Brown. They came from Elam. And they were a part of Lake County's law enforcement. I think Lyle's retired now, and Kia is still working as a highway patrolman here. So we're so proud of our families. See, but that always, nobody talks about that. We don't get newspaper coverage like everyone else does. So again, I want to thank the Board of Supervisors for this. We need to be all aware, and thank you so much, all my people and all the leaders today. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh.
Supervisor Pyska?
Vice Chair Crandall, thank you for bringing this, and thank you for the translation. This is really powerful. I think every one of us in this room is feeling it deep within us. And I also want to recognize the courage that it's taken for so many people to step up out of their comfort zone to get us to this place today. So thank you all for coming, and thank you for being a part of this.
Supervisor Green?
I share those comments. I also celebrate those who appear here today in leadership. One of the great privileges of my 2 years on this board is being able to build bridges in these communities and see this current generation and future generations of leadership that I do think Supervisors Crandall and Simon certainly have paved a way. But look at this great upswelling of leadership. And it is a time for celebration, but it's also a time for acknowledgement. You know, definitely it kind of shortchanges it here, but the past practices and policies of the United States and earlier colonial governments, the past actions of people, you know, the people who are settlers who came in and their assorted bad acts, and then the bad acts of our governments. Learning the traditions is one thing, but really learning about the pain and learning about the separation of families. When I first started learning my belated education, it was a job duty. You know, I started doing noticing when I was in social services under the Indian Child Welfare Act. And so you had to learn about what ICWA was about and why the distribution of Native families was programmatic, and just the tragedy that was visited upon family programmatically and forcefully, and that's why we have that law now. But it's a pale remediation. So just as our Native friends gathered here today have a full understanding of their culture, not just of the celebrations, but of the sacrifice, I'm belated, and I think I'm not alone in that. So if you are not a Native person and you have not had the opportunity to fully immerse yourself in the richness of the Native cultures here, I invite you to do so. But I also want you to know that if you do it right, you're going to feel uncomfortable. You're going to feel a little less sure of yourself and your understanding of American history. I'm much less certain of it than when I started in this chair. And so if you're not feeling uncomfortable, if you're not feeling the pain of your Native brothers and sisters, you're not doing it right. So I invite you to continue your own exploration as brothers and sisters with our Native friends here. Thank you.
So I want to make sure and speak of our colleagues, Supervisor Simon. I know that he co-sponsored this with you, Vice Chair, and he has been part of the change, initiated the change that has occurred at the Board of Supervisors. I don't mean to correct. I think it's a positive correction, but there are more counties in the United States that have 2 Board of Supervisors, and I think they might actually be called commissioners, and that's in Coconino County in Arizona, right in the midst of the Navajo Nation. My friend Lena Fowler, who is a Board of Supervisor down there, is trying to make contact here because she wants to celebrate what she has had seeing over in Coconino County, because she wants to continue to see more of that. And I think that's what today is all about, is progress. We are making progress. Mr. Steele, I will never forget the day that I randomly sat in when we organized a Native American Day of Empowerment over at Woodland Community College, and you did a presentation to some of the youth about what supports people's abilities to cope, be successful in life, and deal with their surrounding environments. And you talked about how culture being taken away takes away those coping mechanisms, takes away the network of support. And I think that for those that may still not understand, because there's people like that that still are around, that's the reason to exchange what used to be Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day. Is too long there's been oppression, and it's time that we start celebrating and acknowledging the Native people of the United States, not just here in Lake County. So that presentation it's marked me. It's something I will never forget. It was the best visual representation of that explanation, and I really appreciated that. But I also appreciate the things that unfortunately have occurred in the past, because I'm here and I am friends with a lot of people that are on this stage. And by us mixing together, we also get to create new relationships and new bonds and take new paths moving forward. But we have to learn from the past, and we have to do better as we move forward. And again, that's why we're here today, because we are doing better and we are making progress. So thank you very much. The translation, I agree, powerful. Really appreciate that, hearing that and feeling that, and just a good day altogether. So thank you, everybody. So sorry. Is there any public input to add to this conversation? Please raise your hand. We have Kyle Bill from Konokatai Native Wellness.
Yeah, thank you to the Board of Supervisors, to our team at Konokatai Native Wellness for working on this. Anthony Steele, for all your work and your commitment to being a student of our language and to reawaken our language, and look forward to hearing next year's proclamation in another dialect around the lake. This is just the beginning, and I'm very excited for this. And I just want to thank all of our relatives that are present in the room that are continuing to do the work of our ancestors for the future generations of our people. And just want to say how proud I am to be a part of a wonderful team that's doing this work, not only in Lake County, but throughout California and the United States. So thank you again. It's a beautiful day to be Indigenous, and it's a beautiful day to be from this beautiful place that we all call home. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment from either the audience in the chamber or Zoom? All right, seeing none, let's go ahead and take a picture. Next, we're going to move on to our 6.5 item, 9:06 a.m., presentation of proclamation designating the week of October 6th through 12th, 2024 as Code Enforcement Appreciation Week in Lake County. Supervisor Green. Come on up. I know we have code enforcement team in the back, on the side, kind of all around. Come on up.
Tough act to follow. Hello. You don't follow it, but you stand up there and take it. Take it like code enforcement. All right. We're going to do a proclamation here today designating the week of October 6th through 12th, 2024 as Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Week right here in Lake County. Bunch of whereases. Bear with me. Whereas the state of California has proclaimed the second week of October as Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Week. And whereas code enforcement officers provide for the safety, health, and welfare of Lake County residents through the enforcement of local, state, and federal laws and ordinances dealing with the various issues of building, zoning, housing, environmental, health, and life and safety. And whereas code enforcement officers have a challenging and demanding role and often do not receive recognition for the outstanding job they perform in improving the overall quality of life for residents and businesses of our local community. And whereas code enforcement officers are extremely dedicated, highly qualified, and thoroughly trained professionals who share the vision and goals of preventing neighborhood deterioration, enhancing communities, ensuring safety, and preserving property values through extensive knowledge, industry-leading training, and application of housing, zoning, and nuisance laws. And whereas code enforcement officers have a highly visible role representing Lake County and regularly interact with the public and a variety of federal, state, county, and local officials in the capacity as code enforcement officers. And whereas code enforcement officers are dedicated to the community and routinely show efforts above and beyond the job description, helping residents in need or in emergencies and ensuring exceptional community relationships. And whereas Lake County wishes to recognize and honor the outstanding code enforcement officers that serve our community and acknowledge their role in leading the way to improve quality of life throughout our county. Big breath. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake hereby designates this second week of October 2024 as Code Enforcement Officer Appreciation Week in Lake County, passed and adopted this 8th day. Now we applause. Now we invite Mr. Beltramo to say a few words.
Well, I don't really have much to say, but it's time for us to get back to work, and I'll hand it back over to you.
Oh, he's too shy, but I just want to do a little shout out of personal appreciation. They do have a very difficult job. They are very visible in the community. 99% of the time it goes just great, and every now and then there's some hiccups. But these are the foot soldiers in protecting, just like they say, the property values, knocking down those nuisances, and from my background in cannabis, a lot of those nuisances continue to have to deal with cannabis issues. So for those that hope to keep nudging this county along toward a more compliant future, these are the guys, these are the foot soldiers. So I appreciate them so much, and appreciate Director Turner. I know you have some oversight, and you probably have some words to add to this. Yes, you do? Yeah. See what I did there?
I just happen to have a few. Thank you. I just really hope that that this team knows what an honor and a privilege it is to work with them. They are out in the community every day, seeking and encouraging compliance, code compliance with property owners and residents in a manner that comes alongside people. They deal with people with compassion, wisdom, and professionalism, even in situations where that sort of a feeling is actually not reciprocated, which actually just shows the strength of character of this team. To be able to be in the face of adversity and keep your wits about you and still be dealing with the public with a compassionate and professional manner shows real strength. So I think they're all rock stars. And I could go on, but I think that this is for the board to really show their appreciation, and I'm very thankful for that. Thank you.
Supervisor Pyska?
So, yeah, I want to echo that too, because I've seen you demonstrate so much heart when you're working with individuals through really difficult situations, and you're out there because of public safety to make sure that our communities are safe places to live, and that we don't have compliance issues that could start fires or put people at risk. And you're doing a lot of abatement work and cleaning up a lot of nuisance over the last couple of years and bringing these cases to us. Really high quality presentations. So, Marcus, your team, you've changed so much over the last few years, and you've really developed your team. I'm so grateful for everything that you all have done for the benefit of all of our community members.
Because you all want to get back to work, I'm just going to keep it short, but I want to thank you, Marcus, for coming to the town halls. Gentlemen, I've seen all of you on duty everywhere in all the districts, but I know in mine I've seen you on many occasions where, at specific times or another, people are like, where's code enforcement? I'm like, oh, they're in Clear Lake Oaks, but they don't see you there, so they're thinking something's not getting done, but it is, because they come here to us. So it's just a wide array of different things you all have to do. So at times people don't get to see that. But I know that you all are on the job, so thank you.
So there is nothing easy about interacting with adults and telling them what is wrong with their property or what codes they are violating. That is a very difficult conversation to even begin, let alone conclude with the right resolution. A cleaner environment is a vibrant environment, and that's the level of importance that you all have in the work that you do every day. Is our communities cannot thrive without that vibrant community that is created by having a clean community. So keep up the good work. Thank you for everything you did for the Roadmap Task Force. Looking forward to those same type of results through Copter. You are making change, so thank you. I'm not going to forget about public comment this time. Public comment for this item? Please come on up or raise your hand. And seeing none, let's take a picture.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Might as well stay up. All right. Next, we have our 9:07 a.m. item 6.6, presentation of proclamation designating October 9th, 2024 as Ageism Awareness Day in Lake County. And we have Supervisor Pyska and Vice Chair Crandall.
You introduce it.
Okay. So we are going to introduce the proclamation designating October 9th, 2024 as Ageism Awareness Day in Lake County. I'm up here with Supervisor Pyska as we are on the Area Agency on Aging Committee. And so.
You're the chair.
And well, I am the chair, yeah, so.
Board of Supervisors, County of Lake, State of California proclamation designating October 9th, 2024 as Ageism Awareness Day in Lake County. Whereas ageism refers to the stereotypes of prejudice and discrimination toward others based on age. And where, do we have anyone from AAA up here? We didn't invite anyone.
You're the recipient of the proclamation.
Whereas there are an estimated 21,058 older adults in Lake County over the age of 60 who are impacted by ageism. And whereas ageism towards older adults affects their health and longevity, financial well-being of the economy of Lake County. And whereas preventing ageism in education, employment, housing, and healthcare will benefit all, and whereas recognizing that it is up to all of us to ensure that older adults are respected and portrayed as capable, competent, effective, and valued in all areas of society. And whereas ageism awareness and preventing ageism is beneficial to all citizens of Lake County by improving the quality of life within Lake County. Now, therefore, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Lake hereby proclaim October 9th, 2024 to be Ageism Awareness Day in Lake County, passed and adopted this 8th day of October 2024. So we have such a high population of seniors in our county. It's growing every day. This is a great place to retire, and we know not only are our residents getting closer to retirement age every day, but we really attract to our community folks that are looking to live in this ideal place to live out their final years. But it can be a difficult place to live as a senior. It can be isolating. It can be difficult to access resources, and that's what we do with the AAA, is provide resources to our senior centers to try and engage seniors in community so that they don't feel isolated, so that they know they have resources, and we can help provide other realities of living here. You've got to be aware of emergency response issues. You've got to know what to do if there is an emergency. You've got to get assistance with your home and your defensible space, because we know how important that is, and we know that seniors are on fixed incomes. So there's a lot of things that go along with supporting seniors as they age gracefully in this county, and we really work hard to try and make sure that they've got the resources that they need so that they can live in dignity and really remain quality members of our communities.
Yes, just to piggyback off of that, I know that there are situations in different counties all over the state right now where agencies are coming in and buying the properties and putting seniors in a position to have to raise their rates for capital improvements and things like that. And it's a lot of law that these folks really don't have a chance against. So I've been meeting with different parks, the folks that live in the parks for situations like this, not to mention how seniors are vulnerable to scams. There was a presentation in our last area agency and aging meeting to go over this and give that input. I know in some of the business associations and town halls there's been folks to come forward and do that as well. So one of the things that's important is the sheriff actually during this fire actually went up and helped some seniors get out of the area and get them to a safe place. And so it's always important to consider that when you are in an emergency situation. Check on your elders, check on your seniors, see what we can do to help them get to a safe place.
I want to thank you both for your work on AAA. That's a very important work. I think that Supervisor Paiska alluded to some of the vulnerabilities that our seniors face, probably one of the most vulnerable age groups that we have in this county other than youth, which will be next on our proclamation. But we need to continue to support them in any way that we can so that they can at least enjoy quality of life, a certain level, a certain standard. And you spoke of the fires, and every time I think of this, the loss of life that we have experienced due to fires have all been the elderly that have been impacted by that in the worst of ways. And so thank you for bringing this, and thank you for the awareness, and let's keep the work going.
I'm the old dog on the board, so I get to speak just a little bit. I appreciate the proclamation. Ageism is a thing. People preying on the elderly. It's hard to say that, but I guess I qualify at 65. 2 presentations ago, our native cultures really honor their elders. My peeps, not so much. it's an interesting time where people are just assuming I'm going to be in a rocking chair after I leave this board. Not so. Now we have smartphones. Most of the targeting I've seen of seniors, it's in my news feed. You know, it's so many scams. And when my mom was still with us, door-to-door people preying on elderly people. So if I read the proclamation right, roughly 1 in 3 of Lake County's residents are older. And are not only hopefully enjoying out their retirement years, but also facing some very substantial challenges in many cases. And they don't always have support networks. And so I appreciate the proclamation. More importantly, I think the hard work that goes behind this needs to continue and needs to improve here in Lake County, because there's clearly a lot of unmet needs. So thank you.
Thank you for that. Next.
Chair, did you have public comment?
Oh, public comment on this item? Apologize. Trying to speed through, and seeing none, let's go ahead and come back. 6.7 or 9:08 a.m. item, presentation of proclamation designating the month of October 2024 as Head Start Awareness in Lake County. And please come on up. All of you involved with Head Start.
Thank you for coming up, and I am glad that we get to do both of these on the same day, where we can talk about our children and how we support the needs of our youngest population and our oldest population. Everyone's up. Okay, Board of Supervisors, County of Lake, State of California proclamation designating the month of October 2024 as Head Start Awareness Month in Lake County. Whereas established nationally in 1964, Head Start is a national federally funded early childhood development program that serves children and families whose purpose is to help children achieve their full potential. And whereas Head Start provides comprehensive health, nutritional, educational, social services, family and community development, and meaningful parent involvement. And whereas Head Start focuses on children's language development, early literacy, social skills, and providing their parents the skills in becoming their child's first and best teacher. Whereas Head Start is committed to the development of each child and provides preventative and early intervention services to children and families regardless of their economic status. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Lake County Board of Supervisors do hereby designate the month of October 2024 as Head Start Awareness Month. Be it further resolved, the Lake County Board of Supervisors recognizes that the needs of children and families in Lake County must become a top priority for future decision makers by investing financial resources and talent in the support of health, mental health, educational disabilities, early childhood education, child abuse and neglect, and family trauma-sensitive care. Be it further resolved, the Lake County Board of Supervisors encourages all parents of preschool-age children to participate in literacy activities such as reading a book with your child, attending a play with your child, and going to the library with your child during the month of October, passed and adopted this 8th day of October.
So my name is Rick Travis. I'm the Family Services Coordinator for Lake Mendocino County's NCO Head Start Development Program. And our director and I put together a little statement here that we'd like to read to the board. So as I said, my name is Rick Travis. I'm a proud member of the NCO Head Start team. Today we stand before you with immense gratitude and joy as we celebrate with the Board of Supervisors the recognition of October as Head Start Awareness Month. This acknowledgement is more than just a proclamation. It's a testament to the unwavering support and commitment of our community leaders towards early childhood education. Head Start has been a beacon of hope and opportunity for countless children and families, providing them with the foundation they need to succeed in school and in life. To the Board of Supervisors, thank you for your continued dedication to our purpose. Your recognition not only highlights the importance of early childhood education, but also reinforces our collective commitment to ensure that every child, regardless of their background, has the opportunity to thrive. As we move forward, let's continue to work together to support and expand and expand the reach of the Head Start programs. Together, we can make a lasting impact on the lives of our youngest learners and their families. Thank you once again for this honor and your steadfast support. Let us celebrate this month with renewed energy and a shared vision for a brighter future for all our children. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Raj, and I'm here from East Center Head Start, along with my Head Start family here. And I just want to say on behalf of our agency, we really couldn't do this work without the elected officials, our community members, and most of all, the families and partnerships that we have, the collaborative relationships. It really does take a community to plan and really work with families and look forward to the future and the changes we're going to make. So I'm really honored to be a part of this celebration. And what a wonderful day to talk about families, ancestors, relationships. So thank you again.
Anyone else? I have nothing more to add. My name is Lisa Morrow. I'm the Executive Director for Lake Family Resource Center that operates the early Head Start program. So we have the babies, the 0 to 3, and just want to say thank you. It means a lot. And thank you all for inviting us. Thank you.
Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for being here. Since being on I've just been on the NCO board a little over a year now and learning so much more about the Head Start program and everything that we invest in both Lake and Mendocino counties and these children has been really eye-opening, and I really appreciate all of you for showing up here today and for all that you do all the time.
I'll go ahead.
Go for it.
Thank you for coming and being here on behalf of this proclamation conducted by the Board of Supervisors. Your work is very important to initialize the children's minds and how they'll move forward in life. One time, I actually, as education director of Hopland Tribe, I inherited a preschool. And it was really fun. I had to hire teachers and everything, and I just pretty much was the organizer of everything, but sometimes I had to fill in. And I did it, I got through it, but it's seeing these kids that are like now above, 21 and all of that is just wonderful. So just wanted to go ahead and tell you I empathize with your work, but it's rewarding. It's rewarding.
I want to thank you for the work that you do. What you offer is a fork in the road at the earliest stage of any development. I think everyone has a chance to build a fork in their road when they're older as adults, but it's so much easier if we can set them up for positive outcomes right away. That's what you're there for. We're struggling to have the capacity to take care of all the children that we have in Lake County, but you continue to build and you continue to work, and thank you so much because you're making a difference.
Thank you. One thing, again, with a short time left in office, I'm chairing First 5 Commission this year. So I know there's an intersection of interest there and that you're both doing that pre-K age group, but I still don't fully understand the intersection of those interests or the various funding streams. But through that work on First 5, I know you're dealing with the most vulnerable and the most important population right now because they are going to grow into our future leaders and the future custodians of Lake County. So thank you. You're in the trenches as much as anybody, and as Supervisor Crandall noted, that can be challenging work on a good day. So thank you with your providing direct care, helping get that funding in there. Thanks for all you do.
Hi guys, my name's Courtney Ambrose. I'm a parent representative for both Early Head Start and Head Start here in Lake County. I just wanted to say thank you to all these wonderful people up here. And without you guys, my little ones, I have a 2, 4, and 6-year-old, so you can see where my life is. Without these guys, I wouldn't have the opportunity to go back to school full time and be able to make a difference in my life as well as my children's lives. So thank you.
Thank you.
I want to open it up for public comment. I have a hand up in Zoom, Betsy Kahn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me all right?
We can hear you.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge the incredible contribution, more than people probably can ever imagine, of Anna Santana. I do not see her here today in the room, but she has done some amazing work over the years. Her lifetime dedication to families in Lake County is just fantastic. I thank you for acknowledging the needs that we have in our community, and I just want to give a shout out to her. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? All right, seeing none.
Do the pictures.
Let's see. Yeah. And don't go anywhere when he's finished, because I'm going to bother you for one more. Okay. Here, you wearing? This is a good angle right now. Get one more. Great. Thanks, y'all. 1, 2, 3. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Be right back up for the domestic violence. Good to see you.
We get a break.
And so we're going to carry on to item 6.8, our 9:09 a.m. item, presentation of proclamation designating the month of October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Lake County. And for those that serve, those that are experiencing domestic violence or have experienced it, please come on up.
That's why I want
You held back.
Carmen, you're going straight. You gotta be at the front.
You can stand up. Come on up. That's right. Rise yourselves up. Yes. Rise up.
You can even move in front of Michael Green. It's perfectly
Come on.
fine.
Let's do it. Yeah. Yeah, put that tall guy in the back. Forget that guy.
I'm all leaning on your side.
It's all good. We'll hang in.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Number one, I appreciate so many people here on the dais. That's the level of support we have in this community for those that are victimized by domestic violence. This one's always hard for me because the ones closest to us should not be the ones that we fear. Those are the ones that we should trust the most and feel the true love that comes from them. But it is unfortunate how much occurs between partners, between families. Those are the ones that we should not be thinking that comes from. But this obviously states otherwise, and hence the services that we have. Board of Supervisors, County of Lake, State of California proclamation designating the month of October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Lake County. Whereas domestic violence impacts women, children, and men of all racial, cultural, and economic backgrounds. And whereas emotional and physical scars resulting from domestic violence are often severe and long-lasting. And whereas, in the past 12 months, Lake County law enforcement responded to over 480 incidents of domestic violence, including men, women, and children. In the past 12 months, the Victim Witness Division of the District Attorney's Office has served 407 victims of domestic violence, and the District Attorney's Office has prosecuted 243 felonies and misdemeanor acts of domestic violence. Lake Family Resource Center responded to 935 crisis line calls, served victims, and sheltered 127 domestic violence victims and their children for a total of 4,429 bed nights. Whereas it is crucially important to hold perpetrators responsible for assault and to prevent domestic violence at every opportunity. And whereas family violence is a community problem, stopping the cycle requires not only the strength and courage of survivors, but also the support and involvement of all members of the community. And whereas many organizations such as the District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office, Lakeport Police Department, Clear Lake Police Department, and Lake Family Resource Center are committed to ending domestic violence in Lake County and provide essential crisis intervention and prevention services to all members of our community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the month of October 2024 is designated as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the County of Lake, and our community is urged to support the efforts of the agencies assisting victims of domestic violence and to increase their involvement in efforts to prevent domestic violence, thereby strengthening our community and creating an environment which honors, nurtures, and protects all members of every family. Passed and adopted this 8th day of October 2024, and signed by us as supervisors.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Kayla Vogus. I am the Domestic Violence Program Coordinator with Lake Family Resource Center. I first just want to thank the Board of Supervisors for the recognition, as well as thank our partners for continuing to work with us on this issue, and to the community for supporting us. And I also wanted to share that this year's theme from the Domestic Violence Awareness Project is Heal, Hold, and Center. To embrace the many cultural ways we can heal from violence and oppression, commit to holding space for survivors, and center those most marginalized in all of our efforts to end domestic violence. This is an intentional pause and moment of recognition and togetherness for advocates and survivors across the country. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak?
Oh, okay. My name is Tatsuhiro Suzuki. I am the Program Administrator for the Victim Witness Division, Lake County District Attorney's Office. First of all, I'd like to thank the board for this proclamation for this month designating Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I stand here looking at all of the faces that stand behind me. We all stand in unity to bring awareness to domestic violence. Unfortunately, domestic violence does happen every day, even in our community, multiple times. And everyone here, all of these agencies behind me, along with law enforcement, are all here to bring awareness. So if you are a victim of domestic violence, please reach out to us. We work here. Everyone here behind me works here tirelessly, providing services and bringing awareness. So thank you.
Last chance. I want to pass that over to the board.
This is such a difficult, it's a difficult reality for so many people, and it's hard to come forward. And knowing that that the folks in our community have you as allies makes that just a little bit easier, and you make that journey that they have to take a little bit gentler. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for showing up. It's really important for everyone in our community. Thank you.
So I'll end it with one thing, and I might get in trouble. I got to look around. Hurt people hurt people. If you are dealing with issues, please seek out the services so that it doesn't end up hurting someone else because you're not able to take care of the problems that you have within. That doesn't mean that's the only case and the only scenarios, but please, we have a lot of services throughout this community that can help you. Find the help you need so that you can help yourself and you can help your families as well. Let's take a picture.
Supervisor Sabatier, I think that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're hiding.
I'm not hiding. I have a small army blocking me out here. I just wanted to highlight that in addition to this small army, domestic violence has such large ripple effects. I do want to do a shout out to social services and child welfare services, Lake County Office of Education, everyone that kind of deals indirectly. This is definitely the frontline response group here, but so many people in our community also have to deal with domestic violence and its impacts indirectly. And it creates a great burden on those people as well. So I want to acknowledge them. And then from a policy standpoint, you know, there's no excuse for it, but we definitely understand through their work and through work of other agencies that culture plays a part of it, lived experience plays a big part of it, but also poverty and substance use and abuse play huge parts in this. So one thing we can all do is not only acknowledge their hard work today, but as policymakers and board people, we have to continue to really reinvigorate Lake County as a prosperous place so that we give people jobs and opportunities to better themselves. And if they have an opportunity to work and be productive members, then that takes away a lot of the pressures that do lead to domestic violence. So I want you to all to take a look. This is just a fraction of the response that the county has to put in each and every year. And I do see Supervisor-elect Rasmussen here, and I know through his work with Lakeport Police, he's very keenly aware of all the issues you're dealing with. And so I just want to do a shout out to him because I know he's going to be a great ally for you in the forthcoming years. Thank you.
Just want to thank you all for your work. Thank you for coming here. I know you work to catch this situation on the cycles that take place because oftentimes there's, the couples get back together regardless of what's taking place. So it's always important to be ready for that cycle. I mean, if you look back in the media or movies and things, you go back to the 70s. I won't say the 80s, but they might be. But if you look back, you see it just in the actual social atmosphere of those time frames. And so it's getting better, and it's with work like yours that makes it get better. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. I'd like to just clarify one quick point that Supervisor Green made. Domestic violence has no economics attached to it. It doesn't matter how much money you make, how much money you don't make. Poverty does not lead to domestic violence. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Here we go.
Chair Sabatier, if you wouldn't mind opening it for public input. Thank you. I just wanted to say, express my gratitude. There was an episode or a chapter in my life about 10 years ago where I was left feeling small and powerless and vulnerable. And I will always be grateful for the support and the strength of Lake Family Resource Center people, Victim Witness, the District Attorney's Office, and Lakeport Police came alongside and helped me get through that situation. And without that strength derived from your group and your effort and your passion, I probably wouldn't be where I am now. So I say thank you, not just for me, but for the thousands of people who are walking around in Lake County right now feeling the exact same appreciation, but aren't here because they're actually living their lives, which you help them to do. Thank you.
Anyone else have a public comment to make? I can't see Zoom. No hands in Zoom. All right. He's got a wide lens.
me. That's okay.
So I know we're a little bit behind schedule, but we are going to take a 5-minute break. Let's reconvene at 10:26, and we will take up item 6.9. Oh. This is why you needed a 5?
Just glare at us and we'll stop. I'm going to go like to keep quiet.
All right, welcome back. Let's go ahead and continue where we left off for our 9:30 a.m. public hearing. 6.9, discussion and consideration of the community and economic development allocation of the California Community Development Block Grant. And we have Ben Rickelman, who I believe will be taking the lead.
Sounds great. Good morning, board. Ben Rickelman. I'm a Deputy County Administrative Officer. I'm here with Community Development Services, Jeff Lucas and Andy Lucas, who help with the county to administrate the CDBG Economic Development Program. The state department that oversees it recently issued the annual notice of funding availability. So this is the initial discussion. And then as required by the state, we will also have a public hearing, which we have scheduled for November 5th. So we will be back. Just to keep it brief, there's 1.5 up to 1.5 million that can be for a community applying for the economic development dollars. And then there's 300,000 that can be for workforce development training. So for the 1.5, what we're considering is continuing the low interest small business lending program, facade improvement program, which we've discussed with the board in a little bit of detail in unincorporated areas as required by the program. And then the final one, it's still in some discussion, but North Edge Financial, which used to be Arcata CDFI up in Humboldt County, they have received some money from the federal government to work on developing energy systems, energy enhancements for small businesses. As I'm sure you're all well aware, that's a major issue for small businesses here in Lake County. I saw, we have the second highest energy costs in the country. And especially now with the summers here, it's a major financial issue. There has been some businesses that's kind of tipped them to a closure decision because of energy costs. It won't be a solution for everyone. You kind of make that initial upfront investment in a solar system, and then you get the savings throughout the year, so that doesn't work for a time frame for every small business. But it could be one great tool in the toolbox for some small businesses here. And then two other things. So we came to the board a few months ago for using program income. It's still going through the approval process with the state, but so that's not part of this application. So we're kind of rolling that program income over to support the microenterprise program. And then there was a request from the board to get some performance measures, kind of just a program overview with the microenterprise program, and Andy Lucas has put that together, so we'll be sending that electronically to the board. If there's additional comments, Jeff or Andy wants to provide, that'd be great.
Briefly, I would like to add that with the low-interest business loan program, as Ben said, we'll be under that component focusing on the facade improvements, low-interest loans for businesses who have high-interest debt, so we can refinance those. Businesses that want to expand and create jobs are our targets. And then one other partner that we've started working with is PG&E, and they have programs that are also designed to help finance improvements, solar batteries, to reduce the impacts of the cost of power use, especially during the summer months when our businesses are most at risk, so to speak. We have several of them, businesses we've been talking to about how we can work those programs to help stabilize their expenses. So we're very happy that PG&E is working with us, and one of the things that they indicated is that they too need to reduce dependence on their grid because it's inadequate and fragile. So this fits with their program as well. I just want to add that we're kind of excited about this. We think it can make a real difference. Thank you.
And one other thing I'll add is with the 300,000 workforce development, we're considering supporting the BUILD program. So that's where those funds would go to.
Supervisor Pyska?
So, what was the amount for the low interest loan portion again?
So we don't have to specify out of the 1.5 with
Okay.
those three sub-buckets, but the overall for the low interest loans, the energy and the facade was 1.5 million. It's some combination.
And does that also include the technical support? Okay, good.
Yes.
Perfect. And I do want to say with the PG&E programs, we had a lot of conversations this summer when our businesses were screaming and going out of business. They did come to the Big Valley Advisory Committee, so that town hall meeting was pretty successful with them explaining their programs. But again, I think it's probably better to have that local touch here, because things do get a little bit lost in translation when you're talking directly with PG&E. Sometimes it's a little easier to have local knowledge of those programs and see where they can be plugged in a little bit better. So I think it's great that you guys will be engaging with them on that and then kind of interfacing with our businesses. And then I'm in full support of the 300,000 for workforce development to go to BUILD.
Any other comments or questions? Supervisor Green?
Yeah, not an action item today, so I can't quibble about any of the proposed things, but I was looking at the NOFA, and I do see a category in there for homelessness assistance if we're hooked in with the continuum of care. So we put quite a lot of work in the continuum of care over the last couple of years, and I think we're on an upward trend. So is there any opportunity in this current NOFA to take a look specifically at homelessness assistance and whatever funding streams we could get through that? Because it's great to get what we already have getting routed through COC, but I see another little segment here that could at least create potential for examining future funding.
Yeah, I'm happy to work with the appropriate personnel in the county government to pursue that. So you're correct. There's the 1.5 that's designated towards economic development activities, but there's also other funds available through the CDBG program. So I'll follow up and see what a good course of action is for that.
Thank you.
Vice Chair?
Thank you for this presentation. I was just talking with Andy before this about some other things, but of course, always the support that's given when it comes to the businesses from Jeff and Andy. Thank you for coming along with Ben and giving this presentation to us, and I hope that we can, obtain this funding if we haven't already. It looks like we're just the resolution will come on the 5th, so after the hearing, right? So, looks like we can get this work done with your help as usual, and maybe we can get in a direction to help with more, assistance, because you all have been just wonderful helping on Highway 20 with some of these businesses, and whether they get the services they need or not, or get the help they need, it's still just good to see someone have a response, and they feel good about that. So applying for this funding is always very important, so thanks.
So I have a question. It says that certain cities and counties that were eligible can submit up to 3 applications for 3.6 million. Are we not eligible for up to 3.6 million, or can we be eligible? So why are we not going for 3.6?
So economic development activities is 1.5 million. I know the county's working on the housing action plan, but if there is something in the housing realm that is applicable for CDBG, I know there's kind of pretty stringent requirements, or if there's something another department works with this NOFA, I will definitely reach out and see if anyone else can go forward on the other available funding.
What's the deadline for the NOFA? Obviously, November 5th, we're looking at passing a resolution which would let you submit the application with the backing of the Board of Supervisors, but what's the overall deadline?
November 6th is when we want to start submitting our applications. And then you have until
December 29th.
December 29th.
But it is competitive first come, first served.
Yeah. I don't know what the capacity is, but I do know that I would prefer walking away not leaving $2.1 million behind. I feel we kind of had this conversation before where we were offered $750,000, but there was $1.5 million or something along those lines where the Board of Supervisors said, get the rest. And then it turns out we were happy we got the rest because there was so much demand. Again, it's one of the previous programs that we discussed specifically with CDS as well. And so just kind of curious what the plan is, because I want to make sure, I would personally like to make sure we don't miss out on 2.1 million. Susan. CAO Parker.
Yes, thank you, sir. What we can do, Ben and Jeff and Andy, we can send a notice to the other departments to see if they have an interest, and then we can help them, submit their application. But again, it'll be up to those departments whether or not they wish to engage, because those are the specific projects that we've identified in economic development. But outside of that, it's really the departments that need to let us know so we can assist.
And that could be where Supervisor Green brought up any kind of assistance to deal with homelessness. I don't want to take away from economic development, because if we're just helping homelessness and not doing economic development side by side, we're not actually solving the problem. We're just housing people. We got to give them something to do and some quality of life and some way to become independent. So love the 1.5 million. Just want to speak on that real quick. Love the idea of helping out with PG&E and the increasing costs, the never-ending increasing costs. Are we looking at possible ways of collaborative energy needs rather than just individual buildings? Because our business districts are typically in a specific area, not just scattered everywhere. Granted, they are scattered everywhere, but we have some high-density areas where there's a grid easement that can be provided within the area where everyone can access the solar and the battery power rather than going one business at a time. You're smiling like I am saying something that is...
I'm smiling for two reasons. I would love to discuss that further, because we are looking into that and we're trying to figure out how to do that, but it's not going to be just a CDBG economic development play, so to speak. I think we're going to need to include the area planning and the other elements of it. And so this first program the way we're looking at it is this program that we're talking about today for low-interest loans to businesses is the first step towards providing solar farms for communities that would be not only for the businesses but also for residences. Now that's a long way to go, and it's a long-term process, but we're hoping that this could start that thinking process and help move it forward. Not that other folks aren't looking at it, but I guess my answer is yes to your question.
Okay. Because I see it as that is one way to be equitable to our businesses by offering an area reduction in their electrical grid costs, so that it's not the business who got solar panels is still there and the one next door is now closed down. It's every business gets a reduction so that we can help as many people as possible to stay in business and to keep a vibrant business district rather than just a vibrant one building that has a business. Just a thought, but I appreciate that that's being thought about, because that would be an amazing way to be able to move forward. All right, those were the only questions and comments that I had, and hopefully we can get others to take interest in the 2.1, and we'll see what we can do with that.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Supervisor Green?
Yeah, just real quick follow-up. We don't want to hijack, economic development, very, very important. That's your forte. But to your point, we want all the money. We want all the CDBG money. So if we're pushing you outside your comfort zones on things like homelessness assistance or stuff like that, but just to point out, we should not only go for the full Monty on the thing, it may actually, looking at the appendix where the scoring matrix is, we could be potentially much more competitive if we do get some COC input into this application. So I know it's kind of short notice and all that, so I don't want to put anybody under the gun, but whatever we can cobble together this round may inform future applications in future years. So the more synergy we can get between the departments, the stronger application I think we're going to have. So let's get competitive. Yeah.
Thank you. Vice Chair?
And I appreciate that sentiment. I just want to say, too, that I do understand, and we all do it in a lot of times, especially when I go to the RCRC meetings, that at times you want to apply for, funding that you can spend, and you don't want to give it back. So I understand that as well. So if it's important to get solid funding from one source and it's too arduous to get the other amount, it's understandable. But at the same time, if you can, I appreciate that, trying to get all the funding you can. But again, death by grants is always talked about at RCRC and different small rural counties. So just wanted to highlight that, not opposing what you all are saying, but just giving that real aspect to what happens at times. So.
And logistically, we come back November 5th for this specific ask for regarding the 1.5 for the economic development. We can come back at a later time for a different resolution for the rest of the 1.6, right? Okay. Or the rest of the 2.1. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
And we also anticipate coming in with the application, and the resolution will indicate that $300,000 for the workforce support, workforce training application. Those two applications will be part of the anticipated resolution that will come before you to support the build program for the long haul.
And right off the top of my head, to me, I would go straight to the capital asset list of things that we plan to do, what can easily be pulled out of there that matches what this NOFA is. It's already a project that we want to get accomplished. We just pull it out and instead of coming out of general funds or whatever other funds was going to pay for it, we might be able to exchange that. So that would be one potential easy way to get something. Who knows? We'll see. Open it up for public comment on this item. Anyone wish to speak on this item? I see no hands in the Zoom room and no movement in the chamber, so I'll bring it back to the board. Right now, there's no action. You'll be back on November 5th, I believe it was. And at that point, we'll get a resolution and see where we go with it.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it. And the email.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So if you guys don't mind, I would like to make a quick pivot. I would like to quickly, because I don't think it's going to take a long time, take care of 4.1. Our sheriff has been hanging out with us in the Zoom room since the beginning, and I think we can get this done probably in less than 2 minutes. So I'm going to read out the item. Consideration and ratification of the local emergency proclamation by the Lake County Sheriff OES Director for the Glen Haven Fire. And Sheriff Howe.
Good morning, board. Thank you for getting this agenda item on as an extra. That 2 minutes, you think I can beat that by 1 minute and 30 seconds, I think. So this is before you for consideration of a ratification of the local emergency proclamation by the Lake County Sheriff OES Director, myself, for the Glen Haven Fire. I can give you some updates if you need on the fire, but that's really all I'm requesting this morning.
All right. And Vice Chair Crandall, since this is, do you want an update on the situation or just move on?
Yeah, if you would like to give a quick update, Sheriff, on just where we're at. I know that there was some media that was put out, but we'll go ahead and give some.
Sure. The board knows this fire started on October 4th. We made this proclamation that afternoon. We unfortunately lost two homes destroyed and 1/3 structure damaged in the fire. At one point, we had 3,475 people under evacuation order of some sort. The fire reached about 417 acres. We did open a shelter as well. Thank Twin Pine for their assistance with that.
We had on Friday as many as 40 people take advantage and use and need that shelter. I think 13 actually stayed the night. Good news with the whole fire right now is we're looking at 70% containment, and you probably got the notice while you're sitting there that all evacuations have been lifted as of 9 o'clock this morning.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Sheriff, and also thank you for being there with me, Supervisor Pyska. You were there with me as well, kind of guiding me through. There's a couple of things that I wasn't privy to that you really helped get me in touch with some folks. I know that commonly Brad Honorado would help us with a couple of these submissions here and there, and so some of the contacts you had really helped. Sheriff, you, Under Sheriff, and Lieutenant Wells were there, and I just try to stay out of the way, but at the same time do what I can to help you all. It was really good to see all of the agencies come together, the police departments, all the fire departments and whatnot, CAL FIRE. And so I think for me, out of all of the fires, this one was a little close to the homes as opposed to some of the others. I know Robinson was, but they got a real quick grasp on that. So, I mean, this one, yeah, it was, yeah, none of them are any good, you know, ever. But thank you again for that. I think it was really, it could have been worse. So thanks.
Yeah, well, thank you, Supervisor Crandall, Supervisor Pyska for coming out. I don't know if I missed anybody else there. And also, Supervisor Crandall, thank you for your words earlier. I heard them about the fire awareness, and that's always appreciated to get that out there.
Supervisor Pyska?
I do want to say one other thing about the Sheriff's Department. Showing up with the Starlink was an absolute game changer. No one had very good service at all. The cell towers were impacted. We had less than a bar of service, and we couldn't communicate until that was set up. So that was a critical investment that made a really big difference.
It did. It works well in Lake County. Supervisor Green?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks to everyone who responded to that emergency. I was able to kind of tour it from the water yesterday. That could have gone so much worse. And so both the evacuation and the resources needed to do that, and then the firefighting skill and expertise, just amazing that the community came out as good as it did. Just one housekeeping question, just an observation, not expecting an answer today, but when we spin these up, typically comes from OES, and then we renew these every 30 days until deemed no longer necessary. So I don't know if we're going to get FEMA funding or anything out of this, or what the various funding streams will be, but we don't actually have a process, I think, to actually for OES or some other agency to advise the board when it's no longer necessary. So just an invitation, if we don't have a process somewhere down the road, probably after I'm off the board, we'll need to review this and see when it needs to come off. But thank you.
Supervisor Green, you just reminded me, one thing I wanted to add with my little update is, again, I've done it before, but just to thank everybody, all the first responders, everybody that, you know, fortunately, county's become pretty good at these things, and it's necessary, but immediately we had LPD, CPD, Mindo, Parks, Fish and Wildlife, CHP, and of course all the fire personnel that they did a tremendous job doing what they did. I appreciate all of them.
Thank you for the comments. I do believe we attempted to have a process to at least bring it back for public information as to why some of these things are still being continued, maybe like every 6 months or something like that. We'll have to check in and see, and just remind everybody that we had attempted to create that. So thank you for the comment. All right, let's open it up for public comment. See none in the chamber, none in the Zoom room. Again, want to thank all the first responders for everything. I know that I was involved in some phone calls, checking in, and again.
The road, Sulphur Road.
Sulphur Bank Road. I saw a lot of people going into the fire area that should probably not have been going towards the fire area, so helped to close down that road, thanks to Sheriff Howe. But yeah, happy that, not happy. Bad things happen to certain people, that is horrible, but happy it wasn't worse. So
One key thing to add, and I hate to belabor this, but the North Shore Fire used a hose, a special apparatus that went straight to the lake rather than utilizing the local water authorities' services, because a lot of times it depletes their water for the public. And so with this apparatus, it helped to use lake water the same way that the helicopters and the planes do and whatnot. But this was very helpful. And so, yeah, I just wanted to add that they did that.
And who funded that pump?
Tell me.
I thought it was a tribal purchase.
I think, oh, it was Upper Lake, yeah. Abimitzel, sorry. You tell me. You know, sometimes I replace information in my head. So
All right.
Without further ado, I'll go ahead and motion to approve the ratification of the local emergency proclamation by the Lake County Sheriff OES Director for the Glen Haven Fire.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff Howe.
Thank you all.
Okay, I lied, that was not 2 minutes, but we got it done, and we are going to move on to our 10:15 a.m. item, 6.10, public hearing. Receive public comments regarding the application to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development fiscal year 24 pathways to removing obstacles to housing PRO housing grant. And welcome Director Turner and team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mireya Turner, Community Development Director.
Thank you.
After a heavy morning, I feel like this is a fun thing. This is a light and easy thing to talk about. A federal competitive grant application for up to $7 million to support our pro-housing efforts in Lake County. I will turn it over to our Deputy Administrator, Shannon Walker-Smith, and our Staff Services Analyst, Damian Marks, who have been working on this most diligently for the last couple weeks. As you'll note in the agenda, this is a pretty beefy application. So there's been a lot of thought, a lot of talk, and a lot of writing that's gone into it. We did miss a detail that I will cover after the presentation that we can see if we can work through. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. We came before the board a few weeks ago to start the initial discussions about this grant application. And since that time, we have been working with our partners, both the Housing Office in Admin with Lisa Judd pretty extensively, and then our community-based organization partners, NCO, and Lake County Community Foundation. I'm missing one of their letters. Lake County Community Foundation, LCCF. So we have back before you today a confirmed budget and updated executive summary. This is a public hearing for this grant, so we will take any public comment and then we also have the grant narrative posted on the CDD site with a link to a survey for public comment as well. We'll be incorporating all that public comment into the final draft of the narrative, which is why you don't have that final narrative draft in front of you today. But you do have a confirmed budget and updated executive summary. When we last spoke about this grant, not too much has changed in terms of what we were scoping. We have, you'll see in the confirmed budget, we have outlined 3 positions, 3 County of Lake positions that would be added, 2 to the Housing Office and 1 to CDD if we were to receive these grant funds. And these staff positions would be critical to the development of this housing program. So one would be a development liaison. That person would be kind of the face of the county in terms of working with developers and trying to bring those developers in to do affordable housing development in the county. And then another position would coordinate the rehabilitation part of the Regional Housing Trust Fund, and utilizing funds from this grant would develop a rehabilitation grant program where we would offer low and moderate income residents the opportunity to apply for grant funds to do code improvements on their homes and bring them up to code. And then there would be a senior planner that would be dedicated for housing. So that person would walk any housing projects that would come to the planning division through step by step through that process, and liaison with our building department as well. So that developers and people looking to build housing in this community would have a much more seamless process. Additionally, there is quite a pot of money for the actual rehab. So working with NCO's build program, the grant funds would support a position in their program for kind of a tier 2 of their current program. And so that graduates from their current program could graduate up to this tier 2 program. These grant funds would support the position that would oversee that tier 2 program, and those builders would do this rehab work in the community. So grant funds would both support the position through a direct MOU with NCO, but then the rehab funds that are in this grant, the work would primarily be done through NCO's build program as well. Yes, and the total for the rehab pot of money is $22,275,000. So that would go a long way in bringing some of our housing stock that is starting to show signs of wear back up to livable standards. Additionally, we have another $2 million in the grant to provide construction loans for new development. That would be administered through the administration office and the Regional Housing Trust Fund. And then the County of Lake, one of the things about this grant is order to get full points, which is what would get us funded in a national competitive grant, we have to offer up an in-kind match, or in this grant it's referred to as leverage. And so detailed in the budget and then also in the letter that Director Turner is going to address in just a moment, we have outlined the additional staff time that would be dedicated to the project as in-kind match, and then the $2 million that the board has already put in trust for the Regional Housing Trust Fund, that would become matched to this program as well. So we are going to outline a letter of commitment that we need the board to sign in support of that in-kind match. There's another piece of this grant that we wanted to do a little bit of explaining about. So there are opportunity zones that have been identified by HUD through a combination of factors outside of our control. And they're really looking at factors where there are communities where housing is a little bit more expensive, or they see those communities as a little bit more affluent based on data. And they deem those communities opportunity zones for affordable housing as an equity move, right? So they look at communities where there is quite a lot of housing stock, and there's opportunity for more, and especially opportunity for affordable housing. They say that those opportunity zones are also close to infrastructure and transportation. And so the opportunity zones that were identified in this grant, in these grant materials, were in Cobb, Spring Valley, and the Kelseyville Riviera. Based on local knowledge, we know that whatever data set they have put together to identify those communities, our local knowledge says those might not be the best communities for affordable housing due to lack of closeness to infrastructure and transportation. And so we are dedicating in this grant, we're required to explore those communities as opportunity zones for affordable housing, and we will do so, and we're committed to do so if we were to receive these grant funds. But we also will utilize our local knowledge and work with partners to, identify communities that will be best suited for more affordable housing development. So that's what the opportunity zones, and that's why those 3 communities are kind of highlighted in the narrative of this application, because we are required to address that in order to get those points for this narrative.
And these are different than the tax reform opportunity zones for economic development. These are housing opportunity zones. Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right.
So with that, we can open it up to your questions, or do you want to talk about the letter now?
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
But before we talk about the letter, I want to check in with County Council and make sure, because we are trying to navigate through what was originally uploaded and what is being asked of us, and want to make sure that County Council can check in and let us know on how we got to maneuver through this.
So it was referenced or alluded to that, I think back on September 24, the Community Development Department presented to your board recommended action to apply for this specific grant, the grant that's being discussed today under this public hearing. So that was back in September 24, 2024. It does talk about that grant, which your board approved for Community Development Department to apply. Did discuss the match requirement, which, as I understand this letter, is that's the main topic of this letter that's before your board today. So it does flow from that September 2024 board approval to apply for the grant. It flows from the application of the grant, and what's before your board today as part of the public hearing is, as it's referenced here, public hearing is for gathering public input to inform the final application. So it is part of that process, and for further clarification, I believe Director Turney has indicated or will indicate that this letter of support that's being proposed for your board's consideration or approval would be made a part of that application. So for purposes of this agenda, this particular agenda item, your board may post a copy of this letter of commitment, and your board also may also has the option of reading through the letter so that the public would then be apprised of the contents of that letter.
Okay. And there was word earlier about a resolution. There's no resolution. It's just a letter?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Director Turner.
Thank you. I do appreciate County Council Quintavano's presentation of walking us through that. At the last board meeting where we discussed this, we appreciated the board support for submitting the application, authorizing the deputy administrator to sign the application. We appreciated the discussion of what can the board do to express its strong support for this grant application. What we missed, what was inadvertently omitted, was the presentation of the letter. This isn't so much a letter just of support, but it's rather a letter that is consistent to the mechanics that are already included in the grant application of a letter of commitment to the financial and non-financial support, which, as Ms. Walker-Smith has discussed, is included both with leveraging our housing trust fund as well as providing significant in-kind matches of staff time and resources. So this letter of commitment is a part of the grant that is required. It was posted or added to the agenda online to be available to the public this morning, which is just moments before we gave it to the board.
Thank you very much. Anything further before we open it up for questions and comments from board members?
I was just going to say that I mentioned last time we were here that we had to play with the numbers We needed, in order to get all the points that we can get, we have to provide a 50% leverage. So that required us to really look at what we could leverage against what we could apply for. So the number that we landed on, should we receive these funds, will be 5.8 million.
Thank you very much for that clarification. Comments, questions, Supervisor Green?
Yeah, I'm actually, to County Council's point, so I'm looking at what was posted, and I'm also looking at what was handed out. So in addition to the letter of commitment, it looks like the spreadsheet amounts have changed from what was just handed out. So I guess my question is, if we're supposed to accept public input on the final plan, what was posted is not the final plan, right? And even if we subsequently post a letter of commitment, it looks like the spreadsheets have changed. So is this the final plan in my hand, and can this be posted to clarify to the, you know, it just seems kind of messy. I'm not saying the changes are bad, but if that's the requirement to accept public input on a final plan, what I'm seeing before me is not that, so.
So on the 24th, we posted a draft narrative and budget, and now we've been receiving input on that budget and narrative. And we had to finalize the budget between the 24th and now in order to get the numbers into the letter of commitment for today. So that budget is finalized. Should we receive any public comment or any comment from the board today, we would move, you know, numbers around within the budget, but we are landed now on a final number. But that is the way this process kind of works, is that we draft, you know, an idea, and then we accept the input. And over these couple of weeks, we've been getting closer and closer to a final version. Public comment doesn't close until end of business tomorrow, so we won't be finaling anything, any of the draft narrative pieces, until we have received all the public comments so that we can include those items in the grant narrative.
So I'm unclear. What you just handed today is final?
The budget is final.
Okay, but this is not what is posted online at this point?
Correct. A draft of the budget was posted on the 24th to receive feedback on. But because of the timelining of this grant, we had to move to a final budget draft to get you the letter of commitment today, because it includes the numbers from that.
Okay. Last comment, just from a recovering newspaper guy. As an editor, when you look at the bottom of a page and you see a headline for something that's going to go on the next page, we call those orphans. So in this draft document, I see a lot of orphans that could be cleaned up, but that's just me.
And if possible, let's go ahead and upload the final budget as well, just so that the public is well aware. But I think today the letter is what we're approving. We're not approving the budget per se. And in the letter itself, it has the descriptions of all the things that are needed to be able to move forward. This is our second discussion regarding this topic. And I know that time is of the essence, and so we're trying to maneuver it in a appropriate way, and I appreciate County Council helping us find that way, but I'm comfortable moving forward today. But let's go ahead and upload that so that others can review it and take a look at it. Any other questions or comments? Supervisor Pyska?
Well, this is critical work to get our housing stock back up to a standard where people should be able to live, especially given our climate challenges. And with the amount of fires that we've had in the last month, and going out and seeing the amount of code violations and how difficult it is for folks to get their homes into compliance, this is needed, because with the home hardening program, for example, you cannot participate in that program if you have any outstanding code violations. And that is a significant issue in the Kelseyville Riviera, where even if you have a deck that was built without a permit, you cannot participate in that program. And in looking in the city of Clear Lake and with the Boyles fire, you know, that was one of the communities that we had looked at for home hardening. And that's one of the conversations that I've been having for a long time, is what is the pre-program, or what is the wraparound? How do we get compliance? Because we can't move forward without compliance to make those other improvements. So I really hope we get this. Thank you for working hard and bringing this forward. I know it's a big push.
Thank you. I did want to say that it's not explicitly outlined in the budget of this grant. It'll be outlined a little bit more in detail in the narrative, but we also received a CDBG grant that will be starting in roughly January that has a code enforcement piece for substandard housing. And so we couldn't use the CDBG funds as leverage for this grant because it's the same pot of money. But we will be pairing, should we receive these funds, we would pair this program with that program. The code enforcement officers that will be working through the CDBG funds will be out working in the community with property owners, helping to identify these homes and doing the education and support to those property owners with a very light touch and trying to get them referred to this grant program should we be funded. And I think that's going to make a really beautiful partnership and could really start to make a difference on this housing stock.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the only way we move forward is layering all these opportunities, weaving them together. We have such an old stock of housing that without this attention, we're just deferring the problems longer down the road.
Okay. Any further comments or questions? I am so glad that you explained the opportunity zone because that was really confusing to me, especially where we came from is a completely different world than where we're going or where we should be heading, at least my own personal vision of where we should be heading, because 2 out of the 3 are not community growth boundaries. 2 out of the 3 are struggling to get insurance at this moment in time. And the access to services different between all 3, but definitely didn't make sense to me when I was reading through it that if this is truly our focus, I'm not understanding how this works. So thank you so much for that explanation. One of the things, just to at least help with the bigger puzzle, because this is a puzzle piece, obviously getting grant funding to get the capacity to be able to process and maneuver through some of the processes that developers have to go through when it comes to your counter, absolutely 100%. I know that we have, I'm going to say the wrong thing, Deputy CAO, Lisa Judd, who's working on a strategic plan currently for housing. This will help to execute that strategic plan. This is not the plan that's going to build the houses. This is the plan that's going to allow for those things to happen. Your general plan status is perfect opportunity to ensure that we are delivering the right zoning opportunities for these things. So I think it's perfect timing. I don't want to go through your budget and tell you where to change things. I think I need to see how it functions, and I'm sure that you're going to be seeing some amendments in the future as you come to realize exactly how things are working. But I hope that we find the right opportunities and the right ways to focus. I think people should be able to build houses wherever they want, but the work we're doing really should be focused on the places that are going to be the most conducive to safe and productive environments, and so on and so forth. So,
well,
happy.
I just want to add that also these 2 communities have suffered loss of housing stocks too. So we have to remain committed to bringing those communities back and the housing back there.
And I think that comes with difficulties. It's not to say that it shouldn't happen. It just, I think we're, as it says in the beginning of it, urgent crisis of housing, and we need to choose the paths of least resistance before we choose the paths of the most hardship, and that will not appeal to everybody for sure. So that's what I have to say. Let's open it up for public comment. Anyone wish to speak on this item? Please come on up.
Hello, my name is Derek Fiedler. I'm the project manager of the BUILD program. I just wanted to leave a quick comment and just say how grateful we are. My coworker, he's the crew coach, Mr. Mike Willis. He's the one that is the lead mentor for developing our student workers that are in our program right now, that are doing work in our community at work sites all around Lake County. This is an exciting time for us because this takes us to that next step where we're no longer just working during the few months of a semester system twice a year. This can help fill in those gaps to where we have closer to a year-round, longer-term opportunity to not just provide that next level of experience and training for our builders, but to also get more work done in Lake County. And that's what we're after. That's why we named our program Building Up Individuals and Local Developments. We want to see industries and housing grow in Lake County, and we also want to provide work opportunities to those crews that are doing the work. And so very excited about this. Thank you very much for all the hard work and putting it together, and looking forward to what's to come.
Thank you for your comment. Any other comments? Come on up.
Joan Moss. I'm hearing a lot of ideas and about loans, and I want to know when these poor people who don't have any money to start with are going to be required to pay back the money they get, and how the whole thing works. It's very confusing. We've heard people who are protesting. They got what they wanted. The supervisors rescinded an ordinance, and we're left with nothing. And the people are left with nothing. So I don't know why you call it loans. Maybe it's a gift. Older people who don't have any money are going to get a loan and get everything fixed. And then how do they pay it back?
Ms. Walker?
Yeah, the rehab part of this grant proposal is a grant program, not a loan program. So in the case of the rehabilitation pot of money that we have in this program, the admin office and the Regional Housing Trust Fund that Lisa Judd is working so hard to establish, they would administer small grants to homeowners, money that would not need to be paid back for rehabilitation of their properties. There is a loan piece in here as well. That the loan piece would be for developers to do large development.
It's very important that you make it clear that it's a grant. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your response. Any other questions, comments? I see none in the Zoom room and no further comments in the chamber, so I'll bring it back to the board. Real quick before we take action, I just wanted to make one last comment, something that concerns me in the difficulties of housing development, and that's our fees. And I'm not talking about us as the county, I'm talking about all of the fees. We just received letters. Some of the schools have gone to the next level where I think it's now $5.14 or 19 cents since the state has allowed that extra increase. Rightfully so, they can do that. But all of those fees keep adding up to what the total amount is at the bottom line to get that done. I don't see that being discussed within the document. I may have missed it, but I didn't see that. And I hope it's something we keep an eye on to figure out how can we help with some of those things to make it more conducive so that we don't have to keep giving grants, we don't have to keep giving loans where people are just coming here and wanting to build because it makes sense and it pencils out. It feels like I may have missed it.
No, and part of, and I apologize, I'm trying to dig in so I can have exact amounts for you, but there is an allocation in the budget to help.
You could speak right into the mic, please.
Sorry. There is an allocation in the budget to help with those fees for developers, to help ensure that developments that are dedicated to affordable housing will have reduced fees, reduced timeframes for their building, helping their overall cost. I apologize, I don't have.
But I appreciate that that obviously is on your mind. You've thought about that. You're look, and to me, that's a temporary solution. Granted, this is a 5-year grant that would help out during that term. I hope that within that time frame, we're able to figure out how do we continue to make that be an incentive for people to continue to work and develop here in Lake County. So appreciate that that's on your mind as well. I wanted to make sure and make up a comment to that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, so just to clarify, we do have $150,000 currently dedicated to fees associated with those developments for affordable housing.
Thank you very much. All right, coming back to the board, and we have a letter before us that requires action.
What would be the action?
Your board may move to approve the letter of commitment for financial and non-financial support of Pro Housing Grant Project.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We figured it out.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, small break.
Actually, we're going to take a break because we are going to go into closed session. Our closed session is split up today. Our first one will be at 11 o'clock. We're a little past that. Thank you for your patience. Public Employee Evaluation, title Public Health Director. And with that, we will take a break, go into closed session, and we will return out of closed session at, let's just say 1 o'clock.